You remain you. Death is not the moment when everything ends, but the moment when understanding truly begins. Only beyond life does it become clear what every experience has actually created for you and for your soul. Hello, my name is Frank Harfer, and in the Akasha-Interviews I work as an information medium, documenting and publishing questions and answers about consciousness, humanity, and our place in the universe. With that said, let's turn to the question. Entry A, 203, Death, Part 2. When a person dies, they have an eventful life behind them. And we also mean that no matter how boring you yourself may judge your life to be, it is always more eventful than anything else you will ever experience in the spiritual world. When, after death, you pass through the incarnation tunnel and awaken on the other side in an incarnation cube, you have achieved everything the soul desired, and also everything you yourself ever desired, because you were so brave and determined to live a life on earth. The decision alone to do this already generated many inner universes in the previous incarnation. We will refine this, since the incarnation does not have exactly the same inner universes as a person, but something similar, which we will explain at another time. At the very least, the incarnation gained much power when it decided on a life on earth. An incarnation knows exactly that it is no longer existent as the incarnation it was after the life, because although it continues to live on in the person, life will change it to such an extent that someone might think the new incarnation is now a different incarnation. You will be this new incarnation, just as you will be when you die. The previous incarnation knows that it is newly created as a person, because it is no longer existent with its consciousness as it was before it incarnated. You as a person are an independent being, and we tell you that within you is also the incarnation you were before. The previous incarnation, within the person. What do we mean by this? Within the scribe is the stubborn incarnation that he was before. And we also mean that the older the scribe becomes, the more he behaves like the previous incarnation. When he is old and his white hair dominates, then the previous incarnation also dominates within the scribe. By this, we do not mean that the scribe then becomes someone else, but that he increasingly adopts the tendencies of his previous incarnation, so that in old age the scribe has taken on the wisdom of his previous incarnation. This will happen with every person, which is why older people are also so calm and composed. This, of course, has to do on the one hand with life experience, and on the other hand with the fact that the tendencies of the previous incarnation increasingly shine through, so that we can say, in the advanced age of a person, the previous incarnation has emerged, and the behavior of the older person reflects the behavior of the previous incarnation. This leads to the fact that after the death of the person, the new incarnation is almost the same person from Earth. What exactly do we mean by this? Awakening after death and rapid growth. The deceased person is already to a large extent the previous incarnation. They simply do not yet have the power and knowledge of the previous incarnation. When the person, after death, passes through the incarnation tunnel and awakens in the incarnation cube, they are exactly the person from Earth. During the awakening, the first memories will return, which describe to the being in the incarnation cube where it is and why it is there. Every being that awakens in the incarnation cube receives these memories first. They immediately know who and what they are, but they still have the consciousness from Earth or from wherever they were incarnated. The memories return, and all beings outside the incarnation cube immediately recognize that you have awakened. They also know, however, that you have not yet received all memories, but the friends of the incarnation are immediately recognized by the incarnation so that it is a joyful reunion. You are still the person from Earth with the knowledge of why you are in this place and who the beings present are. During the initial phase, you will experience moments of sudden awareness expansion in rapid succession, repeatedly recalling past events. This time, not with the consciousness of the previous incarnation, but with the consciousness you had on Earth. You will newly understand many things that the previous incarnation understood differently or did not understand at all. Through this, you receive growth, because these gains in understanding cause you to grow. When you have experienced growth, you automatically receive more power from the universe. If you have more power, you can do more with it than before. When the new incarnation matures through these gains in understanding, you are still the person from Earth in terms of consciousness, but through these gains in understanding, you have acquired new experiences that will, of course, change you. It is the same on Earth. When you gain an insight there, you will still be the same person, and not someone else. This is how the new incarnation that is now maturing is to be understood as well. When, after approximately 2 days, it has completed the process of gaining understanding, it has gained immense power, but you are still the person from Earth in terms of consciousness. You will not disappear after death, but you are still present, and all beings who knew the previous incarnation now see the acquired growth in the new incarnation. Incarnations that have lived a life on Earth are immediately identifiable because their frequency spectra are very rich, and everyone will acknowledge this growth because all beings know how difficult life is, especially on Earth. The role of the soul and the inner universes. You are still living this life, and you now know what awaits you after death, but you still do not know what your soul is doing during this time. It was determined by the wingmakers that a soul benefits when it enables its incarnations to incarnate on a planet. What do we mean by this? Almost no incarnation would voluntarily choose a life on a planet merely to experience growth. You must consider that you are immortal and will never pass away. Therefore, time plays no important role at all in your existence. If, however, no incarnation incarnates on a planet, the growth of beings will proceed very slowly, and many beings would seemingly not develop further at all. If a being incarnates, however, immense growth is generated, and the being will experience strong growth in a short time. Therefore, the wingmakers devised a mechanism that causes the soul and its incarnations to undertake this adventure together. For this, the soul must place itself into a special state, which we will for the time being call the meditative energy cloud. This state is assumed by the soul until all incarnations have lived their lives one after another on the respective planets. This time is called the incarnation cycle and must be precisely planned beforehand by the soul and the incarnations. Depending on how powerful a soul appears, it will ask a different number of incarnations to face this adventure. While the incarnations live their lives one after another on many planets, the soul observes the respective incarnated life very closely. The scribe is writing this text right now, and at the same time, the soul of the scribe is observing his actions. It sees everything. It hears everything, including what we dictate to the scribe, but it does not feel what the scribe feels. Rather, it feels along while observing. If the scribe is once again angry, then his soul wonders. If he is sad, his soul is also sad. If the scribe is cheerful, his soul rejoices with him. But the soul has no direct contact with the scribe. The scribe not only threatened the Creator, but also his soul, because at that time he did not yet understand as much as he does today. The soul was very surprised by this, and in order to be able to help the scribe and its other incarnations in such cases, It created a construct before it entered this meditative state, through which it can speak indirectly with the incarnation. This construct is known to you as the higher self, and we tell you that it exists only temporarily, as long as the soul is carrying out its incarnation cycle. At that time, it instructed the higher self to support the scribe. The scribe often perceived this support in meditations, when he saw or felt something unusual. We, as the masters and teachers of the scribe, had no influence on this. But of course, we perceived it. In this way, the soul has the possibility to influence events so that something can happen according to its will. Souls only rarely make use of this possibility. And we would say that when a person connects with the higher self, that is usually all that happens there. Before carrying out the incarnation cycle, a soul has planned everything concerning its incarnations. Who should incarnate where and what the soul would like to experience. Wait, we say here with a serious facial expression. Why does the soul want to experience something that the incarnation actually experiences? Did we not say that the soul only observes? Yes, the soul only observes the lives of humans, but every incarnated being has something exceedingly special: the inner universes. The inner universes of an incarnated being contain the entire life of this being. This goes so far that life can not only be viewed visually from all perspectives, and these moments also include the emotional aspects, but also the moments of the other people who were present with you during a moment. What exactly do we mean by this? If you, as a person, argue with someone about something, then this argument is stored as a moment in your inner universes. This moment is in you as you perceived it, not only visually, but also emotionally. The person you argued with has stored their own moment of this argument in their inner universes. Since you and the other person experienced this moment of arguing at the same time, you, so to speak, share this moment. In your inner universes, the inner universes of the other person with whom you argued are thus contained, and the other person has the inner universes of the moment from you. Thus, this argument is stored as a moment within you as you experienced it, and at the same time, the moment of the other person is stored within you as they experienced it. When you die, you will perceive all these moments from the perspective of the other people, and it will then become clear to you why, for example, the other person argued with you and what drove them to do so. These reviews of your lived life will, among other things, generate these gains in understanding that will cause you to grow constantly after death. Now, we return to the soul. When, after death, you pass through the incarnation tunnel, the soul will receive all your moments as a copy. The soul is then able to relive the moments as you experience them, and it can also experience the moments of the other people who were present during those moments. It experiences these gains in understanding, just as you do, and grows through them and gains more power. This is only possible if the soul closely observes the lives of the incarnations. Otherwise, it does not receive a copy of the moments. You, as the incarnation, can then travel through the inner universes until the end of your existence and admire the moments again and again from your own perspective and from the perspective of the other people. In the next part, we will look at several aspects that are directly related to the process of dying. This entry, along with many others, is available on my website. The content is published in German, but modern browsers make translation straightforward. You'll find a direct link to this blog entry and further helpful information in the video description.